And welcome to the third episode of the Give Me 20 series. I'm so excited to have you join us today, especially because I'm not just interviewing one person, but actually two at one time. And you're going to meet a really incredible dynamic duo here from the Edmonton area. And I know you're going to enjoy their answers to my four favorite questions. And so remember, the Give Me 20 series is all about getting to know people as to who they are and how they show up, less about what we do. And my hope is that this is going to help create and foster some really meaningful connections out there in our local business community. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our guest here, and then I will introduce you to them. So joining me today is Unfussy. So Unfussy are leaders in brand first marketing strategy and creative execution. Unfussy represents an award-winning stable of brilliant thinkers and doers, led by two of the most skilled and successful creative strategists you've likely never heard of, business and life partners, Cynthia Walker and Corey Brewis. So clients of all sizes and industries look to Unfussy as a means to clarify their offering, pursue happiness, both for themselves and for their clients, ignite positive action, and spark desired business results. So already you've got me. Spark and ignite, I'm there. So long story short and powerful, Unfussy takes a simpler approach to marketing, a strategic gut punch to the feels, powered by a solid brand muscle. So without further ado, welcome Corey and Cynthia.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, awesome. I'm so thrilled to be chatting with you today and doing this interview. I've had the pleasure of getting to know you a little bit better over the past few months here, and your creative thinking is, I think, what really drew me in and something I'm very passionate about too. So I'm sure that others are going to appreciate just how creative you are as we dig into my four favorite questions. So are you ready to just dive right in?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get the timer on. We're going to do our best to do it within 20 minutes, but no promises because I know you guys have lots of good things to say. Okay, question number one. Kind of simple, kind of loaded. How do you help others?
So we help our clients really clarify their message and connect with their audiences. And we do that by brand building or creating a brand strategy for them. So really simply what that means is if you think of your company as a person, brand would be its beating heart. So this would be all of the core values and everything the business stands for, reason for being, over and above making money. So the face, this would be your logo, visual identity, any type of graphic elements, photo selection, color palette, things like that. Your voice, what you say, how you say it, your messaging, everything like that. And then all of your actions, this is marketing. So while each of these pieces can work independently from each other, they all should be a part of the same story in order to tell an authentic and true holistic picture of the company.
That's awesome. So I think I'm translating it in my own mind is that, brand is so much more than a logo. I think there's sometimes a misconception out there when we talk about branding. It's like, oh, pick a pretty logo, right? And I can honestly say as a small business owner myself of two businesses, my brand is my identity. Like it is that who I am at my core, right? So that process of uncovering a brand and a brand story, like it goes deep and you need help to do that. You need someone that knows the right questions to ask, how to uncover the hidden gems, and then how to translate that into something that's meaningful to the right audience also.
Definitely. It's a very common misconception that brand is logo or brand is your visuals or even the product or service that you're selling. And so for that, there's a large educational component built into our brand where we need to get everyone on the same page in terms of what brand is and why it's so critically important. Right. So essentially, as Cynthia was saying, with all of these different pieces working together to tell part of this larger story, the heart, face, voice, and actions of marketing, they're all working in cohesion, right? To provide a consistent idea as to who you are and why you are, right? With all of our marketing actions, all the marketing effort, really fueled and driven by what's going on in the heart. Just as we as decent human beings should live our lives where our actions should reflect what's happening in our hearts. And that's really the power of brand. We're able to capture the true essence of who we are, and why we matter, why people should care about us and our company. And we're able to then communicate with the right audience and translate it for them into a way that resonates with them, right? So it's all about making that connection to the right people and building a strong brand community around which people can discover happiness amongst like-minded people, free from ridicule or judgment, and truly find safety, security, a sense of empowerment, and even partially define who they are through their association with this brand and this brand community, right? So it's not just capturing the essence of who the company is now, but there's an aspirational component as well. So it's who can we become? Who can we grow into as a company? How can we expand these core values and beliefs to pursue happiness for our audience?
You know, and that's so powerful because, I mean, the question, how do you help people? And, you know, as you're talking, I'm hearing things like empowerment, connection, happiness. It, like, these go so much deeper than a business brand. Yeah. And I can say as a small business owner, that's so critically important because it validates us, right? To feel like we are valid in our vision and our goals and our dreams. So branding is a much deeper dive than I think a lot of people realize. And you just can't do it on your own. You need someone to like take you on the tour and do the guiding with you. Absolutely. So awesome. Okay, so that's super exciting. On to question number 2.
Okay.
So through it all, personal, professional, you get to decide. What would you say has been your greatest life lesson so far?
There's a tremendous amount of crossover that happens in real life and in the professional world where we exist. And one of the most powerful notions common to both is this idea that you need to first connect before you can direct. Okay. So this is true of both strong business leaders and managers. It's as well as step parents. Cynthia and I have a large blended family of 6 kids, and so both of us are step parents to each other's kids, and we've certainly found that this is true there, where you need to establish that strong emotional bond, that connection, that sense of trust, safety, security, happiness. All of that needs to be there. That strong foundation needs to be there in order for them to see you as a protective figure, as an authority figure, right? Before you can get them to effectively do something, to listen to you, to take some sort of action, to just be a parent to them. And this is very much true in brand as well. This is how brand works, where you need to make that emotional connection. You need to punch your audience right in the feels before you can direct them to a specific call to action, right? Before you can effectively get them to buy your products or services, or visit your website, or give you a call, or on and on and on. you need to establish a sense of interest and trust and security. And all of this is, you're able to do this through brand, through really uncovering and exposing that brand and the promise that you're making to them.
You know, and that's so true. Like you say, in life there are parallels to business, right? And I think connection is the commonality from what I'm hearing you say. And it's almost like there's an ask to trust me, an ask to let me in, or an ask to be interested before I ask you to take an action, right? So it's a two-step process that I think I've seen some businesses struggle with. You know, you jump over that trust building part right to the buy my stuff, and then wonder why they're not getting, you know, the revenue that they're hoping for.
Brand is also where you prove it as well, right? It's a long-term courtship. So where people get confused that logos are brands, quite often too, people get confused as to the differences between marketing and branding. And marketing is really where you hook your audience. So that's you actually connecting to them, reaching out to them and telling them something. This is where you tell them. Brand, though, is where you prove all the things that you say, right? So it's more of a longer term investment, a longer relationship with your client. Again, a parallel with life, right? This is where you're really investing all of your time and your effort into improving the lives of your audience, into making them happy. Yeah. And happier, even if they don't realize that their lives can be improved through association with you.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. All tied back to, you know, connection. And I think this is an important conversation for small businesses to really explore, that branding and marketing is so much more than what it just seems on the surface. You know, so thank you for that. I think that's going to hopefully give some aha moments for people. And, you know, your company, your business, it's worth it. It is worth that long-term investment. Absolutely. Okay, on to question number 3. And this one can be personal, professional, somewhere in between. It could be lofty, like world hunger. It could be small, like something like what you want for dinner, whatever you'd like. Well, what 2 things are you most hopeful for the future?
Well, I think if anything, COVID has really taught everybody, you know, the importance of acting from your heart. So really remembering the things that are important, right? And, you know, we've tried to do this in our business too, but we've seen a lot of other businesses really focus on what's in their heart. And they've been able to use this period to create bigger brand communities. We've also seen clients taking the shutdown time to really reflect inward and say, you know what, we're going to come out of this better, stronger. We're going to come out of this with the support of our community. And how do we do that? So we've had the pleasure of working with a lot of businesses who have this idea that they need to step it up. They need to focus on what is really in their heart and communicate that to their audience, because, you know, it's community that makes everybody stronger. It's that connection that makes everybody stronger. You know, and a big part of what we do, or what we say we do, is we like to change the world, right? One brand at a time. So another thing that we're hopeful for is to be able to work with more of these people who are very passionate about what they do, are super focused on what's in their heart, and it's a passion of ours to work with people like that.
To springboard off of that too, I would add that I would like to see people take more risks. And I know that sounds really odd right now in the middle of a viral-induced lockdown. And I'm certainly not talking about going out and licking everything you see, but just to realize that business is changing around us, right? And how we have typically done things is changing. It's up to us to define how that change works, what it looks like. And change is hard for people. It's always hard, and people need to be brave enough to take what they perceive to be a risk, because it's something different, it's change, right? In order to conduct business in a different way to meet the now evolving needs and wants of their audience. And so we're seeing this in all different degrees. We're seeing some companies that are just hunkering down and trying to wait this out. We're seeing others that are taking this opportunity to make themselves stronger, to work on their brand image, their marketing output, to try and reemerge from this as leaders in their industry. We're seeing all this new innovation, different ways to connect with audiences. We're seeing a not-for-profit who has always relied on a large golf tournament every year as their main fundraiser. But now that they're unable to do that, they've changed their format into this virtual reality online golf tournament where you're able to play online with celebrities, right? So they're taking what can be seen as a risk, but they're disrupting the view of that and turning it into a positive. They're seeing opportunity where others might see risk. So that's what I would hope people would do more of. Try and see through that perceived risk for the opportunity that is potentially there.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more, because we're faced with a bit of a dilemma here. If we look at everything as risk, we're going to feel paralyzed and maybe not make decisions from a great place, right? If we see it as opportunity, I don't know, like just given a choice, I'd rather look at it as an opportunity. And the playing field has been leveled, right? So those things that sometimes seemed like some businesses had an advantage over another, if you were bigger, if you had more of a presence or more of a history, whatever it might be, the playing field has been pretty much leveled now. And if anything, from my perspective, that helps soften the risk a little bit when it comes to trying something new. So I'm really hopeful that people start taking a few more risks as well. But
just don't lick anything.
Just don't lick people. Just don't lick things. Okay, awesome. So here's our last question. And very selfishly, I am gathering people's favorite quotes and putting them on my wall of wisdom here, because it's amazing what people come up with for their mantras and their favorite quotes. So my fourth question is simple. What is your favorite quote and why?
I have lived my entire professional life according to the words of Ernest Hemingway, who wrote, "There is nothing to writing. All you do is sit at your typewriter and bleed." Mm. The reason why that's always resonated so strongly with me is the fact that I see big picture, I strategize, I write, I create because I have to. Mm. Because it builds up inside my heart, inside my soul, inside my very being, and it needs to come out. And so I tap into that in my professional life. And I think this is really the big difference between doing a job and doing a job you love. And so we do what we do because it's all we can do. This is what we love. And how I judge the success of the work that I'm doing is largely based on my personal feelings as I'm working through different stages of a project, because quite literally I am pouring my lifeblood and my passion into everything that I do, right? So because of that, I I deeply care. We both deeply care about our clients, and we want to see them succeed just as much as they want to succeed, because we have so much invested in it. It's very personal for us. And so as I'm creating something, if I don't feel completely spent, if I don't feel completely mentally and emotionally exhausted, then I keep working, because I know I haven't reached that aha moment. I know I haven't reached the end of that part of the journey. Intuitively, I know it's just not quite right. Right? And we work under the belief that good enough just isn't good enough.
I've developed brand math, which is essentially an equation that outlines everything that gets put into this brand story. And we have one size, one extra large size that fits everybody, because as soon as we're going through the research, we might uncover things that we didn't know that was there, right? So, you know, we came across a competitor that was selling different sizes of brand stories, and we're like, how? You just need to like write what's best for the client. Doesn't matter. We can't put a character size or character limits on the story, because we have no idea what that's going to be, right?
Yeah, whether your brand story, as we're writing it down, is a few paragraphs or many pages, that's not up to us. That's up to your story, to the brand, right? It flows out, and it's done when it needs to be done, when it says it's done, not when our character count says it's done.
You know, and that's, I can feel the passion, right? Like I'm almost like, oh my gosh, like you are all in. And that's why I think that quote, you know, it really resonates, because I think it also talks to me anyway, it talks a little bit about alignment. If you're in alignment with your true passion, it's not an effort. It's uncontrollable. It's just going to happen, right? So it's kind of hard to contain that and put the boundaries around that degree of passion. And I can see why that would just truly help other people in harnessing all of their ideas, all of what they want to offer, and into something that's contained, specific, strategic, that's aligned with their brand. You know, it sounds like you go all in when it comes to helping people with that. So
Definitely.
Awesome. I can see the joy. So clearly, even though it sounds a bit painful, that, you know,
it can be.
And work to the bone and maybe even bleeding, I can tell that there's joy in there too. So I get it. I've got my passion work too. So that's wonderful. So those are my 4 questions. I feel like we've kind of gone on a bit of a journey here. And so we're going to end things off with the Wheel of Wisdom, just for a bit of whimsy and fun. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to bring up our, ooh, can you see it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, it worked. Okay, good. And so for those of you who haven't seen the Wheel of Wisdom, what I have is a series of very random words, but they're all aligned with either business terms or self-reflection, that kind of thing. We're going to spin the wheel. It's going to land on a word, and then you're in the hot seat, and we want you to tell us a little bit about what that word means to you. So, are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go. I actually added a couple other ones today just to change it up a bit. And wouldn't you know, I thought it was going to be connected. So, integrity is your word. What does that mean to you?
Well, isn't the definition of integrity is to do the right thing regardless if anybody is looking? A big part of what we do as well is to give our clients what they need, not necessarily what they want. So a lot of people come to us for, let's say, a new website. But as brand first marketers, we recognize the need for a solid brand foundation before any marketing is done. So when we we try to re-steer them to take a couple steps back and say, you know what, if you don't define what's in your heart, or if you don't discover what makes you different, then it doesn't matter what type of website you have, you're not going to connect to the right people. So in terms of what we offer to our clients, we want to make sure that they're getting what they need in terms of the right services.
You know, I think what I'm hearing you say is that it's not just a transactional engagement with your clients. You know, you're bringing that integrity to the table, acting in their best interests. And, you know, what a great value add if you're incorporating some education into the process as well. So it's not just tying up a deliverable with a bow and handing it over. You know, you're feeding them to how to fish, or you're teaching them how to fish, not just feeding them a fish, right? So yeah, I can totally get that. And how do you not do that if you're all in and working yourself to the bone to get it right? I don't know. It's just all adding up to me.
This is why I look so tired all the time.
Get this man a vacation, Jason. Yeah, well, that's awesome. And I can really see how all of these dots are connecting. You know, that's kind of a big thing for me, is connecting dots. And through these questions and then ending it off on integrity, I can totally get what Unfussy is about. And hopefully our audience can see that too. So thank you so much for your time today, guys. I appreciate it. If someone wants to reach you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Probably just through our website, unfussybrands.com.
Okay, good stuff. I'm sure there's lots of contact buttons and all the strategic placement.
All the bells and whistles are there.
Yes, I'm sure. And okay, so we'll make sure that we have that available to you and or to our audience. And yeah, thank you so much. We really hope you had fun as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, so anyone else who would be interested in giving me 20, I'm still scheduling interviews. Love to hear from you, and it's a great opportunity just to connect with others. So give me a shout and let's tee something up. In the meantime, take care. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.